Hi, I'm Howard Herrmann from the University of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So the rationale for the SMART trial really begins with the fact that women are the most likely patients to have a small aortic annulus with aortic stenosis, making up about 70% of the small aortic annulus population. And we believed that small aortic annulus patients were those that would be most at risk for the consequences of adverse hemodynamics. So we designed the SMART trial to compare the two most widely used valves in the US, the Medtronic Evolut valve and the Edwards SAPIEN valve, in patients who had a small aortic annulus. So the trial was designed, it's a randomized, multi-center international trial conducted at more than 83 international sites. And we randomized 716 patients between the two valve platforms, the superannular self-expanding Evolut and the balloon-expandable intraannular SAPIEN valve, with two co-primary endpoints. The first was a clinical one at 1 year, which was a composite of mortality, heart failure rehospitalization, and disabling stroke. And the second one was a measure of valve performance, a composite bioprosthetic valve dysfunction. It included hemodynamic and non-hemodynamic structural valve dysfunction, thrombosis, aortic reintervention, and infection, endocarditis. So the 12-month data was published in the New England Journal of Medicine 2 years ago, and it demonstrated that there were no differences at 1 year in the clinical composite outcome, but a wide difference, 30% or more, in the bioprosthetic valve dysfunction endpoint. Various hemodynamic measures, different definitions of bioprosthetic valve dysfunction, all showed that Evolut had a larger effective orifice area, a smaller mean gradient, and a larger DVI. So we showed differences in valve performance that did not yet translate into any difference in clinical outcomes. So we presented the 2 years data last year, and now here at EuroPCR we're presenting the 3-year data, which continue to show no difference in the clinical composite outcome at 3 years, but continue to also show the same differences in valve performance. So they were large differences between the two valves for the composite as well as for effective orifice area, mean gradient, and DVI. Those differences were apparent both above and below the median size of 386 square millimeters, and the differences were larger as you got to the smaller annulus areas among the range of patients who were included from 280 to 430 square millimeters. So they've held up in terms of the hemodynamics. We saw no differences in the secondary endpoints, no difference in aortic reintervention, paravalvular leaks, stroke, or TIA. But we did see differences in prosthetic valve thrombosis as well as in definite endocarditis. Prosthetic valve thrombosis was measured utilizing both the VARC2 and VARC3 definitions. With VARC3, the difference was 22 events with SAPIEN and only 4 events with Evolut spread over those 3 years, and was made up of both clinically important and subclinical leaflet thrombosis. So an additional analysis that we did, which was exploratory, was to examine the effects of the hemodynamics utilizing prosthetic patient mismatch. It's a composite that includes gradient, stroke volume, and LV alpha tract area, and is a measure that's been well validated in the surgical literature to show it correlates with late outcomes. We found a significant difference between the two valves in the incidence of moderate and severe prosthesis patient mismatch, and that correlated when you had moderate or severe patient prosthesis mismatch in an exploratory analysis, landmark analysis from 30 days to 3 years with all-cause and cardiovascular mortality, about a 2-fold hazard ratio for those events with the composite group, and a similar increase in the risk of death in the SAPIEN alone group. And that was an adjusted analysis for stroke volume index, left ventricular ejection fraction, and some other clinically relevant variables. So the finding is that prosthesis patient mismatch, there's a signal that it matters in this exploratory analysis. We have definite evidence that those differ between the two valves. And so the question that continues to remain is, will it influence a composite endpoint of clinical variables over time? We know from many other studies that it takes time for hemodynamics to influence the outcomes. We have data from meta-analyses, from single-center sites in the US with both valves showing that prosthesis patient mismatch affects mortality. But it takes about 3 years for those curves to even begin to diverge, and we're just at the 3-year endpoint now. So I anticipate that these differences will eventually translate into differences in later outcomes as we continue to follow these patients past 3 years. We are following patients out to 5 years as part of the SMART trial. But in the meantime, I think it makes sense to do what we can to minimize the incidence of prosthesis-patient mismatch. I think the main one is that we're beginning to see signals of difference, even though the main composite clinical endpoints have not differed yet at 3 years. We're seeing differences in leaflet thrombosis. We're seeing differences in the incidence of all of the hemodynamics, whether individual or various composite components of those, and that those seem, in a signal at least, to influence 3-year all-cause and cardiovascular mortality. So I think we should continue to minimize the incidence of PPM and to follow these patients longer term.